Selenium is a portable software testing framework for web applications. Selenium provides a record playback tool for authoring tests without learning a test scripting language. It also provides a test domain-specific language to write tests in a number of popular programming languages, including Java, C, Groovy, Perl, PHP, Python and Ruby. The tests can then be run against most modern web browsers. Selenium deploys on Windows, Linux, and Macintosh platforms. It is open-source software, released under the Apache 2.0 license, and can be downloaded and used without charge. History: Selenium was originally developed by Jason Huggins in 2004 as an internal tool at ThoughtWorks, who was later joined by other programmers and testers at ThoughtWorks, before Paul Hammond joined the team and steered the development of the second mode of operation that would later become Selenium Remote Control. The tool was open-sourced that year. In 2005, Dan Fabulich and Nelson Sproul made an offer ThoughtWorks couldn't refuse, to accept a series of patches that would transform Selenium RC into what it was best known as. In the same meeting, the steering of Selenium as a project would continue as a committee, with Huggins and Hammond being the ThoughtWorks representatives. In 2007, Huggins joined Google and together with others like Jennifer Bevan, continued with the development and stabilization of Selenium RC. At the same time, Simon Stewart at ThoughtWorks developed a superior browser automation tool called WebDriver. In 2009, after a meeting between the developers at the Google Test Automation Conference, it was decided to merge the two projects, and call the new project Selenium WebDriver, or Selenium 2.0. In 2008, Philippe Hanrigue made Selenium Grid, which provides a hub allowing the running of multiple Selenium tests concurrently on any number of local or remote systems, thus minimizing test execution time. Grid offered, as open source, a similar capability to the internal private Google Cloud for Selenium RC. Pat Lightbody had already made a private cloud for hosted QA which he went on to sell to Gomez, Incorporated. The name Selenium comes from a joke made by Huggins in an email, mocking a competitor named Mercury, saying that you can cure mercury poisoning by taking selenium supplements. The others that received the email took the name and ran with it. Selenium Components, Selenium IDE. Selenium IDE is a complete integrated development environment for Selenium tests. It is implemented as a Firefox add-on, and allows recording, editing, and debugging tests. It was previously known as Selenium Recorder. Selenium IDE was originally created by Shinya Kasutani and donated to the Selenium Problem in 2006. Scripts may be automatically recorded and edited manually, providing auto-completion support and the ability to move commands around quickly. Scripts are recorded in Celanese, a special test scripting language for Selenium. Celanese provides commands for performing actions in a browser, and for retrieving data from the resulting pages. Selenium Client API. As an alternative to writing tests in Celanese, tests can also be written in various programming languages. These tests then communicate with Selenium by calling methods in the Selenium Client API. Selenium currently provides client APIs for Java, C, Ruby and Python. With Selenium 2, a new client API was introduced. However, the old API is still supported. Selenium Remote Control. Selenium Remote Control is a server, written in Java, that accepts commands for the browser via HTTP/RC, makes it possible to write automated tests for a web application in any programming language, which allows for better integration of Selenium in existing unit test frameworks. To make writing tests easier, Selenium Project currently provides client drivers for PHP, Python, Ruby, .NET, Perl and Java. The Java driver can also be used with JavaScript. A new instance of Selenium RC server is needed to launch HTML test case, which means that the port should be different for each parallel run. However, for Java PHP test case, only one Selenium RC instance needs to be running continuously. Selenium Remote Control was a refactoring of driven Selenium or Selenium B designed by Paul Hammond, credited with Jason as co-creator of Selenium. the original version directly launched a process for the browser in question, from the test language of Java, .NET, Python or Ruby. The wire protocol was re-implemented in each language port. After the refactor by Dan Fabulich and Nelson Sproul, there was an intermediate daemon process between the driving test script and the browser. The benefits included the ability to drive remote browsers, and the reduced need to port every line of code to an increasingly growing set of languages. Selenium Remote Control completely took over from the driven Selenium code line in 2006. The browser pattern for driven/B&RC was response request, which subsequently became known as Comet. With the release of Selenium 2, Selenium RC has been officially deprecated in favor of Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver is the successor to Selenium RC. Selenium WebDriver accepts commands and sends them to a browser. This is implemented through a browser-specific browser driver, which sends commands to a browser, and retrieves results. Most browser drivers actually launch and access a browser application. There is also an HTML unit browser driver, which simulates a browser using HTML unit. Unlike in Selenium 1, where the Selenium server was necessary to run tests, Selenium WebDriver does not need a special server to execute tests. Instead, the WebDriver directly starts a browser instance and controls it. However, Selenium Grid can be used with WebDriver to execute tests on remote systems. In practice, this means that the Selenium 2.0 API has significantly fewer calls than does the Selenium 1.0 API. Where Selenium 1.0 attempted to provide a rich interface for many different browser operations, Selenium 2.0 aims to provide a basic set of building blocks from which developers can create their own domain-specific language. One such DSL already exists. The Wartlear project in the Ruby language has a rich history of good design. Wartlear WebDriver implements the Wartlear API as a wrapper for Selenium WebDriver in Ruby. Wartlear WebDriver is created entirely automatically, based on the WebDriver specification and the HTML specification. As of early 2012, Simon Stewart, who was then with Google and now with Facebook, and David Burns of Mozilla were negotiating with the W3C to make WebDriver an Internet standard. In early 2013, the working draft was released. As such, Selenium WebDriver aims to be the reference implementation of the WebDriver standard in various programming languages. Currently, Selenium WebDriver is fully implemented and supported in Python, Ruby, Java, and C. Selenium Grid is a server that allows tests to use web browser instances running on remote machines. With Selenium Grid, one server acts as the hub. Tests contact the hub to obtain access to browser instances. The hub has a list of servers that provide access to browser instances, and lets tests use these instances. Selenium Grid allows running tests in parallel on multiple machines, and to manage different browser versions and browser configurations centrally. The Selenium ecosystem, many other tools support, integrate with and extend Selenium. Popular tools integrating with Selenium. Below are several notable tools that make it easy to run Selenium tests and view their results. Jenkins provides plugins for integrating Selenium test results, and running Selenium Grid. Grails provides a plugin for easily adding Selenium tests to a Grails application. Apache Maven provides Selenium 2 artifacts in the central Maven repository. Visual Studio provides a plugin for running Selenium tests from Visual Studio programs. Drupal Euro unregistered trademark S internal testing framework, Simple Test, provides a Selenium integration. Services running Selenium on the cloud. The following are commercial services that allow users to run their Selenium tests on a large number of browsers' OS combinations, on machines running in the cloud. Most services offer the ability to capture screenshots and videos of Selenium tests, and a secure tunnel for testing web applications running on premises behind a firewall. Pricing is based on total time of tests run per month and maximum concurrent tests allowed. Following are details for several notable Selenium services. See also: Acceptance testing, HTML unit, List of web testing tools, MediaWiki Selenium extension, MediaWiki Selenium Framework extension, regression testing, robot framework, Water, references. External links, official website.